life's journey without the constraints of filters. In a world saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, struggles, and transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth to be moved, be inspired, and discover that you're not alone on the unfiltered journey of life. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. I am a co-host here at the Unfiltered Path podcast. I'm also an aerialist, so I perform suspended in the air. Essentially, I'm the bird of the circus. And I'm an educator, so I help other people do it as well. And I am here with my co-host.
Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Duval. I am the owner of Valued Productions. My company works to produce and implement video marketing strategies proven to make you more successful in your business, helping turn strangers into clients using content, social media, and all the digital spaces. Joined with my co-host today.
Hey everyone, it's Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker, teaching you to harness the power of your mindset to create a beautiful life that you love and are excited to wake up to every single day. And you're on the Unfiltered Path podcast, joined with our guest today. Lloyd, can you introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lloyd. I'm the founder of Kane Business Coaching. I work predominantly with SMMEs, so that's small to medium micro-sized businesses, and I also do some career coaching alongside that. Thank you for having me on the podcast today.
Again,
coming back.
Yes, again, of course.
Your first episode, we could have kept going with that for hours and hours and hours, so we're excited to have you back today. We have a really powerful conversation to have today.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah, when we first come on before we start recording the podcast, we kind of have this conversation with all of our guests, and it just naturally flows to the topic that we're going to have today, which is really like being that authentic self. Because Lloyd's background is a boat. And when I first saw it, I was like, Lloyd, that fits you so well, because I know his story and I know how powerful that industry was in his story and where he is today. And I love to see him embracing that. So we're going to talk about that today, kind of embracing your story. Can you remind our listeners, if they haven't listened to the previous episode where we talked about this, can you remind them what that has to do with where you are today and kind of how it brought you here?
Yeah, so excuse me, my career in yachting was quite an interesting one, and it definitely took me around the world, but it also taught me a lot of valuable lessons in life: how to treat people correctly, how to motivate individuals, how to keep yourself motivated. And that obviously is a very powerful driver and motivator in what I do now as a business coach. And a lot of it just stems down to whether you're working in a company, starting your own little thing, or you're running a family. Kind of need to have a team of people around you to help you steer your career in the right direction or your boat in the right direction. And even still today, I'm very much connected with the sea. I go sailing every Saturday. Well, hopefully I try to go sailing every Saturday. And it just keeps reminding me of why I do what I do and sharing that inspiration with other people out there.
that is so cool. I've never even done that once. And he's like, I'm yachting, or however you just worded that was well. I love that. What's funny, when I saw your payday, I was like, that feels like my emotions. Like,
Really?
that was the first thought I had. And then you guys like, oh yeah, it's your, what you did before and stuff like that. And that was like my reaction to the art, because obviously it's art.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
dig
I
that
feel
too.
that.
I dig that too. I
Well,
mean, they say
Yeah.
that you don't learn to sail in calm seas. So as you know, when you're trying to navigate life, sometimes those challenges and those emotions and stuff are the things that get you to learn.
on
The
that note, when I learned how to sail, it was the middle of winter here in Cape Town, and the sea is rough. It's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. And my whole rationale was, let me go and experience this in the worst conditions. And I puked my guts out for 3 days. I was doggedly sick, and I still get seasick today. And I kept going back. I come off the water, I felt miserable. I'm like, I'm never going back to that. And then the next morning, 6 o'clock, I was there at the boat, ready to do it again, knowing I'm going to feel terrible. But the whole concept was if I can manage this and get through it, then everything else after is going to be plain sailing. And 9 out of 10 times, that is relatively true. And so I like to have a little bit of a dramatic scene behind me because life isn't always calm and serene, just like with business. If your business is running calmly, there's a problem. You need to start looking at something.
Yeah, but hear me out. Like, if your life is
Tell
running,
me there's peace, please.
if your life is running super calmly too, there is a problem because it means you're not taking risks. Because what I see is that we think that that quality of life and really enjoying that serene, peaceful fulfillment, it's only when we're smooth sailing. And the actual happiness of life, like our purpose here is to be able to create the peace and the harmony, like no matter what the storm or the mountain or anything, life can literally be blowing up, air quote, around you, and you can choose to find the harmony and the fulfillment and the peace within it. That's literally what I teach because I can't change people's circumstances. And what we know about those circumstances, they grow us. So I actually want them to go through that because then you learn, but I'm teaching them to also learn through it because how many people don't learn through the challenges?
Right.
Exactly. If you're not going to be able to, I mean, when we celebrate our accomplishments, we're actually celebrating that we've persevered through some sort of trauma or we've gone through a low point. And then we do celebrate like, yeah, I managed to get through that. And it's the same thing with having gone sailing for so many years. It's not fun to go out in rough weather, don't get me wrong, but that's when you learn how to really operate and handle the boat and handle your emotions and overcome a fear is being put in those kind of situations. And you're going to get through it. It's not like you're going to stay in it forever. But when you come out of it, you have so much more appreciation and you've developed in your skill level, you've developed in your confidence. And next time when a storm rolls in, you're not going to sit there like a deer in headlights and go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Please help save me. You can get through it. And I think the same is said for in your personal life and in your business life. If you can't persevere through those hard times, it's going to be tricky.
Most definitely. I mean, it's why you see like baseball players, when they're practicing, they either use a heavier bat than they do in gameplay, or like they'll do two bats so that when they're swinging, it's tougher to swing. And then once they get in gameplay, it's like, oh man, I've just been playing with a bat that's 3 times heavier than this, and they can swing and they knock the ball out of the park.
In my world, we have ankle weights.
Oh,
wow.
exactly.
Yeah, or like obnoxious amount of straddles that you like a routine would have 3, but we do 10 to start class, like that's just my life. But it's nice seeing it because it's not always like my consistent emotional state, like to be a mom and just an everyday woman. So I don't always carry those like awarenesses everywhere.
Yep.
But yeah, it's been a good year with, I think, emotional intelligence and in terms of like self regulating. I could say for myself, I feel because I'm injured right now and I'm at the point where I haven't been active for over 3 weeks. So I'm just generally not as happy as I was 3 weeks ago. And it's just chemical at this point. Like I don't even know how to explain it. And I'm doing really well because I still see it as an opportunity to prepare me for a surgery I've scheduled, which was going to be very similar in my rest. And I think, honestly, I'm like kind of glad I got this buffer experience because I think I would have kind of just been overwhelmed later in the year. Like, because it's a little bit more extreme. And I'm just kind of grateful that now I can probably emotionally cope with it far better. Yeah.
I love that you're talking about it. I think it's
Oh,
so
I have to.
I think it's so important that we talk about our challenges because it gives other people hope too, right? Like there could be someone listening right now, Danielle, who is in the athletic industry like you, who is also injured and they're not having this perspective. You might have been able to shift their perspective. So there's so much like school is life for us, and we're learning constantly what we need for our next level and our next journey and wherever we're going, where we currently are. But but then we're also giving hope to others to see life like that. And I think we're authentic about these messages, and not saying that sometimes it doesn't take time. We have to emotionally regulate and reflect and do all the things before we start talking about some of this traumatic events that happen in our life, really these redirections. I think it's important that we do eventually talk about them and honor them.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's going back to what we spoke about before we started recording, which is that authentic self. And are you putting up a mask, not talking about these issues, in the hope, or burying your head in the sand in the hope that it'll just fly over, pass over, and you'll be fine? Or are you putting away that mask and actually showing that authentic self and asking other people to help you and assist you? And it's not like we have to coddle people in cotton wool and say, oh, it's going to be okay, you'll be fine. It's really just showing up in certain situations, like, I really need help in this scenario, and there are people who are willing to help. But you don't know if you don't say anything. It's like if a person's waving out in the ocean, are they drowning, or are they just waving at you to say hello until something else gets sent out into the universe? Then you go over and you assist them, or you're like, yeah, no, they're fine.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was such a good point of the conversation before, was you were talking about how someone he knows felt like they lost their identity because they weren't doing their said task. And I was like, oh my God, that's like removing your identity to what you do for work. And I feel like I'm getting a mini lesson in that through this experience. And that's why I was able to say that. And I'm so glad you re-brought that up, because I'm so much more than what I do for work. And because I'm injured, I'm being more articulate with my words. I'm delegating. I'm organizing more. I'm doing like all these other things. And so I feel like I've detached, but I kind of reconnected to my job in a different way. But I'm
explore life's journey without the constraints of filters. In a world saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, struggles, and transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth, and to be moved, be inspired, and discover that you're not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Duval. I am the owner of Valued Productions. We provide video marketing strategies to businesses to help them turn strangers into clients. And I am one of your co-hosts today, joined with my other co-host.
Hey everyone, Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker, helping you discover the power of your mindset to live a happy and fulfilling life, whether that be personally or professionally. Joined here with my co-host.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade. I'm an aerialist. That's a fancy term for performing suspended in the air. Essentially, I'm the bird of the circus. I'm also an educator, so I teach other people to do it as well. And we are here with our guest today.
I'm Jason Gutman. I'm a wellness coach, and to keep it very simple, I help people learn to take great care of themselves.
Love that. What impactful little statement you have there. But it's so important, because it's literally our bodies is what allows us to do what we do every single day. Like we put them last. A lot of people put that last, right? When we couldn't even do what we do every day if our bodies aren't healthy.
For real. I have to I'm on the other side of that, where I have to make decisions that the average person wouldn't have to make to maintain an athletic body at my age, and the extra wear and tear and the extra work. So I was kind of think of Tom Brady, because one time he said what he ate and everyone just was besides themselves. He was like chicken with barely any salt, broccoli, and he should name greens he likes, and that was just what he said. And I remember it being such a conversation, and I'm like, well, those are the decisions that separate us, especially when we get to that level. We have to maintain differently. So it's interesting, and I love following your page, because every once in a while I can gather something that I didn't necessarily know, or that I kind of forget. You just get so much information, and then you just kind of live outside of it for a bit, and then you're like, oh yeah, wait. someone reposted about a particular burrito not being healthy, and I had forgot that that burrito shell was not the greatest. And I don't know, it was just a nice reminder, and it's so great to have accounts and people like that.
Jason is definitely one of those people, and he goes into like the science behind the things that we do. And I love that because I love brains, right? So I love reading Jason's stuff, and he's always educating me, always educating me. I appreciate it, Jason.
My pleasure. And I think the point we've brought up already is a very cool one, that in pop culture, there's all kinds of crazy reasons for why one should eat better, exercise more, and such. And many of them are kind of shallow at the end of the day. And the idea that it's to be able to do the things you love to do is anti-shallow, right? It's like, what else is there to do while we're here and alive, but do what we love to do? And at some point, most people come to realize that taking care of themselves is essential to being able to do that.
Yeah, and sometimes they do that way too late. Sometimes they feel like it might be too late. So having someone like you that shows them like it's not too late. And even if you think it is too late or it's past like certain things you might want to do, how else can you achieve that level that you're looking for? And you're right, because here's what I think is that when you have that shallow motivation to why you're doing it, you don't do it. That's where we see self-sabotaging. That's where we see New Year's resolutions that go past January 2nd, right?
Good point.
Yeah. So you have to have a strong why, and it's got to be more than I want to look good in the bathing suit. It's got to be more than I wish I didn't have a muffin top over my pants. It's got to be something more than that. It's got to be I want to be a generational shifter and teach my kids how proper eating serves their body. I want to teach my kids that we don't torture our bodies at the gym. We honor our bodies at the gym. Things like that. Those are the things that I see work in the work that I do that actually motivate clients. Do you see the same thing, Jason?
Yes, a very similar thing. It's often part of our earliest work together to be asking people the simple question, the simple questions, what are your wellness goals? And then why are they important to you? And the answers end up being very simple. They start complex because people are complex, or maybe complicated is a better word. And at the end of the day, there's always something very simple and very important to a person. And it usually has to do with their relationships or their contribution through their work, something that impacts other people in some way. And then think about this. To take care of ourselves requires making positive choices thousands of times, right? Every day, many opportunities. And if there isn't a very strong, compelling reason for making the positive choice, most of the times we won't. And if there is a strong, compelling reason for making a positive choice, most of the time we will.
True.
I like that. It seems like you're able to redirect people that are coming from a shallow place because maybe they don't even know how to articulate it. My pouch is pouching, and as a joke, I've been saying that. So it's really interesting that you use that choice of words because that's not really the problem. I'm injured. I want to make sure I can get back to work smoothly, and I miss my art, So it's really about making sure I'm healthy getting there and not emotionally overeating. But as a joke, I'm like, my pooch is pooching. So I feel like people maybe don't know, maybe the why is shallow at first. And then maybe through like their experience with you, they're able to like reconnect, like, oh, I just want to be more active again. And that's what it is.
I love you.
And it's almost like when a kid is curious and they keep asking why. In my work, I'll keep asking why. So someone might say something slightly deeper, like, I want to have more energy. I want to live life. I'm tired of being tired. I want to live with more energy. So that's slightly deeper. But then you got to ask why again, because what are you missing by being tired, and what do you gain by having more energy? And they'll go a little deeper. They might say, I want to be able to do more with my work. It's deeper, still kind of broad, right? So what do you mean by you want to go deeper with your work? What do you mean you want to have more impact with your work? And if you keep asking the why, you'll usually get to something a little more powerful and a little more emotional for that person. And that's important because a lot of times people think to get ourselves to make lifestyle improvements, we need to sort of understand it intellectually. For example, I know this will lower my risk of type 2 diabetes, but intellectual knowledge doesn't really move people to take action, but emotional awareness usually does. Like that's powerful. If you can get someone to uh, feel emotional, so to speak, about this topic, they'll tend to start taking action. Now, an important distinction, uh, for most people, discovering their why isn't a moment in time that then propels them to a lifetime of action in that direction. It's something you go back to over and over and over again. That's why people put photos of their kids on their refrigerator or on their office walls or something like that, right? Is you want to remind yourself of why this is important to you over and over and over again.
I love that. And here, my marketing brain, when they have the emotion connection, I heard you say the emotion connection to take action. And like, that is the key. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I try to do all the time with my business. You know what I mean? If I can drive that emotional connection to someone visually, to get them to have that connection of like, what does that feel to them deep down? That's the thing that I can get someone to take an action through a video. And so the same thing applies with, anything really.
It really does. I was having a conversation with a gentleman recently, and he didn't quite get what I did. So he was saying, like, essentially, he said to me, um, if someone, it's obvious that we should eat well, it's obvious we should exercise. So I don't understand why someone would need a wellness coach. Shouldn't people just do it? Shouldn't people just suck it up and just do it? And he was coming from a good place.
Journeys without the constraints of filters. In a world that is saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering our listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, the struggles, and transformative moments that all define us. Our mission here is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy and rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth, to be moved, to be inspired, and discover that you are not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hello, everyone. Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker, here as one of your podcast co-hosts on the Unfiltered Path podcast. Welcome to this week's episode. I am a motivational speaker and coach. You can find me at thetrinitybaker.com, here with my co-host.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade. I'm an aerialist. That's a fancy term for performing suspended in the air. Essentially, I'm the bird of the circus, and I teach other people how to do it too. So I educate across the whole southern part of the state of Maine. You can live chat with me on my website, and I am here with my co-host.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Graham Duval. I'm the owner of Valued Productions. We help businesses turn strangers into clients using video content and different digital strategies. And I am super excited to have our guest today.
My name is John Burrell, and I'm the founder of Top Flight Financial and Insurance Services. And we do protection first, fee-based financial planning, and we focus primarily on helping business owners, especially navigate taxes and make sure that they are as tax efficient as possible.
So,
I love that. We all need people like you around. Because the deeper we grow, I think I'm responsible for a couple LLCs now. And so the need for tax awareness and just understanding money on a level that feels so new each time I grow. So having friends and guests like you are so incredibly handy.
Well, I appreciate you having me on today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us more. Tell us more. Especially right now where, everything feels so up in the air, especially since COVID. I feel like we're kind of like reliving those steps a little bit. Like, what are you guys going to do now? Like,
Hmm.
how can we improve the process now? It feels very similar. What was eggs was toilet paper, like, so do you have any like tidbits to share with us?
So there's a lot of uncertainty right now, that's for sure. And it's a daily, if not hourly, experience. So the big thing that we do is we don't predict, we prepare. And so by starting with a solid financial foundation, making sure certain protections are in place for the individual or the business owner, it makes it easier to navigate that unknown. Because if today, when the stock market opens, it tanks, we've got things that are already in place to protect a business, to protect the family. And of course, we're going to make adjustments throughout this whole journey. And we're going to be constantly available to communicate with our clients to help them and to usually give them some reassurance that the planning that we've already done is going to protect them and that there isn't any reason to panic.
That I love what you said. We don't predict, we prepare. And
I
I
like
think
that.
that goes along with a lot of what I teach. So I teach my clients to not react. I teach them to respond, right? But in order to be at a place where you can respond, you have to be prepared. And so you teach a lot of that too, just in the financial world, which is cool. Because there is uncertainty, and there is always uncertainty. If it's not COVID, it's the stock market. If it's not the stock market, it is your personal job. I mean, none of what anyone does is ever really secure, unless you're a business owner. And so I think that you also help business owners really be prepared so that we can kind of create more certainty for ourselves and our families, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love what we're talking about here too, because we talk a lot on this podcast about like some of the deeper stuff with like we get into spiritual stuff sometimes and like I don't know, different concepts and stuff, and but this kind of financial side of things is a little bit more physical, but then like keeping it like implementing those same principles of like, money is like some sort of energy, and how can we use that to, like you said, prepare or set us up for success.
Well, so
Absolutely.
money is an energy, right? Come at it from what John teaches, which is to be prepared. You're not coming at money, and with your money, you're not using your money in a way of scarcity, of fear.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to hide it. I've got to make sure I keep it. You're coming at it with a how can I set myself up to be certain in the
Right.
uncertainty. And then John's helping people decrease that fear in the uncertainty, because the uncertainty is it's going to happen anyway. We know
Right.
COVID. None of us could opt out of the chaos that created, right? So John's setting people up to really harness the power of the energy of money, which is
Yeah,
cool.
that's what I'm saying. It's so cool. And like, yeah, is there any John, is there any like actionable things that you can share that are like that our listeners may be able to just like keep in mind with this?
Well, I think that the basics for anybody who doesn't have a big background in financial um, health, first of all, we're not taught that when we go to school. And if we're not learning it from our parents, we're learning it through the school of hard knocks by making
Mm-hmm.
mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So just, looking at budgeting, I think a big rule for budgeting is a 50-30-20 rule. And that's
Mm.
whatever your income is. And this could be business income or, you're a W-2 employee. 50% of your income should go towards your household, paying the bills, keeping the lights on, paying your taxes. And then 30% should go to things that you enjoy, being able to go on vacation, being able to to buy gifts and to celebrate. And then 20% should be a combination of retirement and or paying down debts or saving for an emergency fund. And
Wow.
so if you can't run the household with 50% of your income, then we need to figure out a way to change your budget, maybe lower some insurance costs or, other ways that we can tap into our resources to connect our clients with other people that do things as well
Right.
as we all do the things that we do.
Right. That is super, super helpful piece of advice I know for myself. Yeah, just a good reminder to like relook at some of those things and yeah, I'm glad that you
think
shared that.
I think something that like that's nice to hear, like just that simple math and be reminded of it. Because I've definitely, it's something that at least they talk about it in college. I feel like I started to hear this kind of mindset, and at least in books I've read. But one thing about being a business owner, I don't know where we plan that, but self-development or starting a new project or expanding on what you already have has to be part of the regimen. So where does that fit in that kind of number spectrum in the 50% of what we spend on our home? Like, because I'm curious, because that's where in a world saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering our listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, struggles, and transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth, to be moved, to be inspired, and discover that you're not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade. I am an aerialist. That's a fancy term for performing suspended in the air. Essentially, I'm the bird of the circus. I'm also an educator, so I teach other people to do it as well. And I recently partnered with the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Maine to create an aerial arts project throughout the entire southern state. So I'm really excited about that. Thought I'd throw that in there. And we are here with our co-host.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Graham Duval. I am the owner of Valued Productions. My company works to produce and implement video marketing strategies proven to make you more successful with your business, helping turn strangers into clients. I am joined with my co-host today.
Hey everyone, Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker, helping you understand the power of your mindset to create a life that feels thriving, fulfilling joy and peace and all of the good stuff and all of not the bad stuff, the stuck and unfulfilled and all that stuff that we want to get away from. I help people do that. And we are joined with our awesome guest this morning. Peter, would you introduce yourself, please?
I would love to. Good morning, everyone. My name is Peter Pierre Lee. I own and operate Green and Portland Cleaning. We are a commercial cleaning service and we operate in the greater Portland area. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We love having
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and businesses on that have a passion for what they do. And Peter, I just met you, and I'm already excited to hear about the passion that you have for your business because it sounds like you started at the perfect divine timing.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people look at that as divine timing. So I'm excited for you to share your story and give a little bit of inspiration, hope, and resilience to our listeners.
Yeah, so when I bought the company, it was back in 2019 as a backup plan to my then full-time job and a couple other side gigs I had going on the side. And then COVID hit. I was in that, wave of layoffs that they made, but equally behind the scenes, we were pregnant with our firstborn. So So when all that wave happened, it was a good feeling that I was already established in the background as a business owner and I had a team working so much so that my team never knew I lost my full-time job and they just knew they were working. So it was a good time to learn adjustment, learn different strategies on the fly because it was like from buying the company as a side gig to now this is your full-time thing and this is what you have
Right.
to feed the family with. So it's been a very great growing experience. throughout, in terms of gaining new clients, losing some clients, picking and choosing some clients, because you always want to make sure that the person you work with is like your big, large pumpkin.
Yeah.
Mm,
Love that. I love
yeah. I'm
talk
I'm
about
Go
talk about
ahead.
talk about the trust that it takes, especially with your first baby coming and you got laid off right in the middle of the pandemic. Tell us a little bit about that trust. I've been talking a lot about that this week with a lot of my clients who are business owners, and Graham and I were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Trust is the trust in your higher power, whatever that is, that like this is that road that you're meant to be down, and you literally didn't have a choice. Like you were like, it's like when they detour the road in front of you. Really don't have a choice. We have to take the detour, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that trust and what that looked like for you.
Yeah, so it's funny that when you were saying trust, I'm like, okay, what is she going to point to? And in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah. So I definitely had trust in the universe, as some people call it. Some people call it their God, whatever you want to call it, that higher power. That everything was going to be all right. And equally, I also trusted in the community I had already had around me, in my BNI community. You know what I mean? And it sounds like I'm bringing it back down to earth, but really, like, because of my trust in the universe and had me secured in my community, I trusted that everything was going to be all right. I mean, like, so much so, the first person I called when I got laid off was my lawyer. Like, and I'm sure he could hear tears coming down my eyes because I wasn't like really like scared. I was just kind of like a little bit of angry because my laying off was something like I wasn't expecting, but was expecting and also was planning at the same time. Like I had an
Mm.
arrangement with the universe that come 40, I was just going to work for myself. And I had it nice. I had my full-time job, couple gigs on the side. And the universe was like, wait a minute. No, no, no. We have a plan. Let's reel it back in and allow me to focus on just like the company, what I wanted to, where I wanted to be in terms of providing for my family, making my own decisions and being able to provide for other people as well has just made me a better person. Because not only have
Yeah.
I been able to help my family, able to help some local friends that I know, but as well as able to help some immigrants as well. So it's been help all around.
I love that. You had a
That's yeah.
plan and the universe was like, hey, we're going to speed up this plan.
Oh man. Yeah.
I
I
think
get
COVID
that.
made people fully commit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
COVID was like, you have to be all in now. Cause like our stories are similar now, that very similar to yours, in terms of we were just starting our careers and thought we were going to go one way or part-time it or, grow into it. And instead we were like all in. Like I spent my COVID money on my BNI membership.
Nice.
That was my like launch